A very pleasant morning to one and all. Myself Nancy Thomas, Assistant Professor in Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, National College of Pharmacy, Calicut. Today I am going to discuss about stereoisomerism. Moving to the definition, in stereochemistry, stereoisomerism is also known as spatial isomerism. It is a form of isomerism in which the molecules having same molecular formula and structure formula, but it's difference in the arrangement of atoms in a molecule. So the definition says that it having same molecular formula and structure formula and only different in the arrangement of atoms. So let us consider some examples. In the first example, as we all know that hydrogen, the molecular formula of hydrogen is H2, and the property of hydrogen is it is in gaseous form and is mainly used, it is a highly inflammable gas. So it is mainly used for producing the flame. And oxygen, it is also in gaseous form, that is O2, and it is mainly used to support the flaming or enhances the burning. So while reacting this hydrogen with oxygen, it produces a molecule that is H2O, that is water, and the property is that is it is mainly used to shut off the fire. So in here the hydrogen is reacted with oxygen to form water, while in the arrangement of atoms are different. So hence the properties are also different. So consider the second example, that is glucose. In our all homes, that is the sugar is available, and the molecular formula of glucose is C12H22O11. Let's rearrange the molecular formula of this glucose. So it can be rearranged as C12H2O11 times. Hence the molecular formula doesn't changes. But just think that carbon 12 times. Carbon means it's a charcoal. While we pour this carbon in water, does we get the sugar? No, because on rearranging the atoms or in a molecule, hence the all compounds gets the properties get changes. So thus the definition says that it having same molecular formula and structure formula, but the arrangement of atoms in a molecules are entirely different with respect to space. Then moving to the types of stereoisomerism. Isomers, it is mainly divided into two types, that is constitutional, that is structural isomers, and stereoisomers. Structural isomerism can be explained as the molecules that having same molecular formula but the structural differences are there. So just as consider the example, the molecular formula is C4H10. So it can be represented as two forms, that is CH3CH, and CH3CH2 and both the molecules having 4 carbon atom and 10 hydrogen atom, but the atoms or the molecule get the structure get different. Is the structural isomerism. Previous slides. Next, second one is stereoisomerism. This stereoisomerism can again be classified into configurational isomerism and conformational isomerism. In configurational isomerism, it defines that the molecule cannot be interconverted at a room temperature unless a covalent bond get broken. So it is again classified into geometrical isomerism and optical isomerism. Optical isomerism is again classified into enantiomers and diastereomers that we are going to discuss in our later slides. Then conformational isomerism is there. Conformational isomerism is nothing but it can be interconverted at room temperature without breaking any of the covalent bonds. Then moving to the optical isomerism. In optical isomerism, three terms or three phenomena are very important, that is optical isomers, optical isomerism, and optical activity. So what is optical isomers? The compound that have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized light, such a compound is called optical isomers, and the phenomena of rotating the plane of polarized light is called optical isomerism. So any property of rotating this plane of polarized light is called optical activity. While seeing all these phenomena of all these properties, they having a common factor, that is plane of polarized light. So let us consider what is plane of polarized light. Here is a diagrammatic representation, that is the light that is from the UV sources or light that is coming from the UV sources is, or any electrical lamps that is composed with the waves of different, it is composed with the different waves that is vibrating in different directions. While it is passing through a polarizer or any Nicol prism, what happens is that the waves that is, the light rays that is coming from the sun or any electric lamp that is composed with different waves that is vibrate in different direction, and it is called unpolarized light. While passing through a polarizer or polarimeter, what happens is that the unpolarized light is converted to a polarized light, which means that the waves is vibrating in one direction. Then moving to the instrumentation of polarimetry, or how the optical activity can be determined, or how the compound that optical activity, that all can be discussed in the instrumentation section. So in the instrumentation section, it says that they having a light source. This light source means either it from a UV light or any electrical light. We have been discussed in the previous slide that the rays that is coming from this light is composed with the different waves, that these waves are vibrating in different directions. While passing through a polarimeter or polarizer or any Nicol prism, this prism is composed, should be composed with a calcium carbonate, and while passing through the waves in this polarizer, the unpolarized light will be converted to a plain polarized light. So after converting the light to a plain polarized light, then this light should be transferred to a sample tube. The property of this sample tube is that inside the sample tube, the non-concentration of optically active compound should be placed. The optically active concentration compound should be placed, then only we can detect either the compound can able to rotate the plane of polarized light or not. So after passing the light through the sample tube, then we can, the light that is coming from the sample tube can be analyzed by using various type of analyzers. So while passing the light through the sample tube, two phenomena or two properties will be occurs, that is dextro-rotatory and levo-rotatory. The plain polarized light, after passing through the sample tube, the rays that is coming from the optically active compound, after striking with the optically active compounds, any compound that have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized light to the left side, it can be represented as levo-rotatory, that is it is represented with negative form or negative sign. So it will be rotated in anti-clockwise direction. Or if a compound that able to rotate the plane of polarized light in right side, and it is denoted as dextro-rotatory, and it can be represented by using a sign plus sign, and which is rotating the light in a clockwise direction. So after we are focused about the definition and how we can detect this optical activity in a compounds, then does all the compounds shows the optical activity or not? That's we can be discussed in the condition. So the compound want to show the optical activity should have to fulfill two conditions. The first condition is that the molecule should be chiral. Chiral is the term chiro, that is from a Greek word mean hand, and chiral means handedness. So consider that our two hands that are the mirror image, but they are non-superimposable. They are the mirror image, but they are the non-superimposable mirror images. So the chiral molecule should only possess the optical activity. Now, what is chiral? Chiral means 4 different groups that is attached to a asymmetric carbon atom. Such a compound is called chiral compounds. And second condition is that the molecule should lack elements of symmetry. Elements of symmetry means that symmetry, we all know that what is symmetry. So any compound that shows the mirror image, or if a line that is drawn in one side that produces equal position on the other side, will produce symmetry. So just consider this example is a cyclohexane, and 2 methyl groups are attached in the 2 meta positions, and if a line is drawn in the center of this cyclohexane, 1/2 of the portion that produces equal position or equal parts on the other side, or the points on one side that produce mirror image on the other side. So here the superimposition occurs. So it doesn't shows the optical activity. So the elements of symmetry should be absent in a molecule, thus only it produces a optical activity. So two conditions that shows the optical activities are, first one is the molecule should be chiral, and second condition is that it should lack elements of symmetry. Let's consider some examples. The first example is the lactic acid. In the lactic acid, 4 different groups are attached in a molecule. So while considering a mirror image, it forms a mirror image that is non-superimposable mirror image. In the case of lactic acid, 3 forms are possible, that is plus lactic acid, minus lactic acid, and racemic mixture. In the case of lactic acid, the hydroxyl groups are considering. If the hydroxyl group is placed in the right side, then it is denoted as plus lactic acid. If the hydroxyl group is placed in the left side, then it is called represented as minus lactic acid, because plus lactic acid have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized light to the right side, and minus lactic acid have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized to the left side, and both the lactic acids are optically active because they have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized light. In the case of racemic mixture means that it is an equimolar mixture of 2 enantiomers, that is the plus form and the minus form. So it is a mixture of plus enantiomer lactic acid and minus lactic acid. In plus lactic acid that rotate the plane of polarized light to the right side, at the same time minus lactic acid will rotate the plane of polarized light to the left side. So the problem is the null effect is the 0. So there is no rotation will be occur, so it is optically inactive. So let's also consider one more example, that is tartaric acid. In tartaric acid, it having 2 asymmetric carbon atoms, and both the carbon atoms are chiral in nature. So here 4 forms are possible, plus tartaric acid, minus tartaric acid, mesotartaric acid, and racemic mixture. In the case of plus tartaric acid, it have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized light to the right side. Minus tartaric acid, it have the ability to rotate the plane of polarized to the left side. And in the case of, so this plus tartaric and minus tartaric acid are optically active in nature. In the case of mesotartaric acid, the second condition is not fulfilled in the case of mesotartaric acid, that is it having elements of symmetry. So while considering these 2 asymmetric carbon atom, a plane has been drawn in between these 2 asymmetric carbon atom. The one portion gets the mirror image on the other side. So it doesn't shows the optical activity. So it is optically inactive, and the fourth form is racemic mixture. It is an equimolar mixture of plus and minus form. It is also optically inactive in nature. Then moving to enantiomers. So enantiomers is that optical isomers that are non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers. So they always exist as discrete pairs. Let's consider an example. The example is same as lactic acid. So lactic acid, the hydroxyl group in the right side, it is a plus lactic acid. The mirror image that forms the minus lactic acid. So A is the mirror image of B. So the definition it fulfills by the example is that lactic acid that are non-superimposable mirror images. So let's moving to the properties of enantiomers. In the case of enantiomers, they are stable and isolable compounds, but differ from each other in their 3-dimensional spatial arrangements, and it cannot be interconverted under ordinary conditions, and they having identical physical properties like melting point, boiling point, density, refractive index, except their action towards plane polarized light. And they have identical chemical properties except their action towards optically active reagents. The next, some of the conditions that is mainly used for focusing the enantiomers are: the enantiomer should be satisfied only if the molecule is chiral in nature, and it should not have any elements of symmetry. And third property is that it should be non-superimposable. It should have non-superimposable mirror images. Then moving to the diastereomers. In the case of diastereomers, the stereoisomers that are not mirror images of each other, and such a compound are diastereomers, which means that they are not mirror images of each other. Let's consider example, cinnamic acid dibromide. Here first 4 structures are possible in the case of cinnamic acid dibromide. Here 1, 2, 3 and 4, and first 2 are the mirror images of each other. 3 and 4 are the mirror images of each other. So first, while considering the first structure, it is the mirror images of second structure, and while considering the third structure, it is a mirror image of fourth structure. So both are enantiomers. While considering the first and third structure, they are diastereomers because they are not the mirror image of each other. While considering the 2 and 4th structure, they are not mirror image of each other, so they are diastereomers. So, moving to the properties of diastereomers. Diastereomers have different physical properties like melting point, boiling point, density and refractive index. Diastereomers may or may not be optically active. Diastereomers have similar but not identical chemical properties. Due to this difference in the physical properties, it can easily be separated by using fractional crystallization or distillation. Thank you so much. Hope you all understand the topic.